Government ain't done. Government that doesn't say shit. I'm the one building 66,000 homes. I own all of them.
Okay.
I own all the
Okay,
land.
but why should the government be responsible for?
They're not responsible. The only thing they're responsible is the life and death of, in case somebody needs to go into a shelter in the
No,
wintertime.
who pays $100 a day?
The tax people do. That's already been there. It's been here since before I was born. This has been happening for all. Well, I mean, it's gone up in value.
I mean,
because over
I want to
time.
go into one of those places, you know?
Well, that the point is, when you're freezing, you don't give a shit.
Okay.
When you're raining, you're cold, your mother or whatever, you don't care. This is the absolute lowest. You have to have save life and death. And you've got people out here. There's 66,000 people that are homeless in Los Angeles County alone.
More than that, but okay.
Yeah. But they actually put, like, I think it was 62,000 people in permanent housing. And that was within the last 4 years. Okay? But they want to do the rest, and I want to do the rest. And then
They
some.
put them in permanent housing?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Well, different areas, depending on where they were.
So what do they rent them? Apartments or?
Yeah, it's where, the way it is, the landlords get on board because they can't rent an apartment because of whatever reason, whether it's COVID or whatever the situation is.
Do you know what Section 8 is right now?
Yeah.
So what?
Okay.
So
Good.
what happens is the appointments of all the people that cannot rent their place, they sit there and they go to the government and say, well, at least I know I got a minimum of this coming in, and I can rent somebody into this place, and the government comes
Secure
in and sits
rent.
there, and they sit there and they say, we're able to do this, but you can't raise the rent just because you've got somebody in there. You have to be able to allow them to the same amount and not
So they cap them at a certain amount that they
because they're paying it. Yeah, the government can only pay up to so much.
Right, okay.
Okay, so they have to make it all in a contract that you can't raise the rent.
I see, okay.
Otherwise, you're catching the
But
government
it's the government
saying,
paying, it's not the tenant itself.
right.
Okay.
So in doing so, all these people who have not been able to get people in there is because of the fact that when the Chinese came over and they had 90% of the market here. Okay, when Trump went into office and they started raising shit, all of it went bye-bye. All the Chinese sold it all off, boom, 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 and all had all this empty stuff here.
So when Trump went into office, the Chinese sold?
They sold everything
They did.
because the price went down. Nobody could afford it. Nobody. Okay, so the stock, literally, yeah, because what they were trying
The
to
price
do
of
is
what went down?
of the houses. Well, let me explain. I'm going to go up to down and you're going to understand what happened here. Okay? When the Chinese come in, they invest in the housing, in the management housing area. So when they come in and they start to manipulate the management companies, those management companies who billionaires own, and they do the thing, they own all the properties up and down through here, hundreds of them. Okay? So they own the property and everybody mails their stuff in. And when your rent, let's say, is $5,000 a month, and the Chinese came in, they bought all these places up, and they started raising the rent to kick everybody else out with evictions. Okay, when they did that, that's why the state of California had to come in with an emergency measure and make it to where you cannot evict somebody on that principle. For the purpose of what they predatory type renting increase. I tell you, evict, okay? So they can charge more. So they passed the law. Then, because they passed the law, the Chinese realized we can't make any money off of this, even though we came in and bought it all up, and we were raising the prices up, because what happens is, even if we did not rent a single one, 100% of that raise is now tax deductible of a loss that we lost. And we're raising it and taking money from the government as tax write-offs, and that's more money that's out of the city and pocket that could have gone to something else.
Okay.
So the Chinese got
Sold.
out.
They sold.
So they sold. But this is when Trump came in. Okay? So the people who were coming in was now selling out. Now here's what happened. Everything fell down through the IRS and through the stock markets 800, 900 points in one day. This, if you remember, the very far when he started to mess with this stuff, about halfway into it, if you can Google this, when Russia sold off all the debt bonds of the U.S. to get money, that means the U.S. had to buy it back. That's money out of the federal government that had to be bought or so given back to Russia for the debt bonds that it was holding. And that was millions, billions, okay? So then at that point, they took that money and started buying gold. Russia did, okay? Now, at the same time, we're sitting here paying all these billions off to Russia, which was a setup from Trump, because Trump wanted to make it a deficit and a hardship so that he can sit there and claim that he can raise taxes to get money for his fucking border wall.
But Trump lowered taxes for the middle class.
No.
Yes, he did.
He claimed he did. He says he did. But
But people were
factually, he
taking
never
more
did.
and more money, though.
Because he did not take it now out of your check. At the end of the year, you had to pay the same amount of tax that you had to pay. They just did not take it out of your check at the moment you made it.
No, but he
So
lowered
you
the overall percentage of the amount that was taken from the middle class.
No. If you go back and you look at the documentations of who got more money was sent to the top 10% wealthiest, they didn't pay a dime of tax.
They
on
never
it.
do.
Okay.
Because of all the write-offs, all the loopholes.
Exactly. But the point is, if you're shoveling all the middle class money up to the top, they make money off of that because it's interest. So here's 88% of America who's not getting anything, and all that money's going to the top. They're making the interest off of all that money.
So why were all the rich against Trump then? Why were all the major corporations against Trump?
Because Trump's trying to fuck those people who has fucked him in the back. The whole reason why Trump wanted to get is so he can get back at some of the, what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name offhand. But
Michael?
No. The big wealthy guy.
Bloomberg?
Not Lumberg, not Forbes.
Elon Musk.
Vegas
no.
for not getting liquor license.
It's one of the billionaires that's up there, and I can't think of his name offhand. But he's been around just as long as anybody else.
Bill Gates?
No. This guy is
Richard Branson?
No, bigger.
Ted, from the television person.
Yeah,
Ted,
he's up there with
TNT.
Forbes. He's next to
Turner.
Forbes.
Ted Turner.
Not Ted Turner. No. He's oh god, I can't. Anyways, he's like a Forbes dude. Anyways, I'll think of it here in a second. But anyway, so the point is that once he made all this as a debt, where he could create a reason that he wanted to create a cost to America, is so that he could raise it, take it legally by the bond of a government authority, whether it's right or wrong, or people wanted it or not, it didn't matter, because he just wrote it off, and the Republicans backed him on everything. The reason why they wanted him in office is because they needed a monkey to sign everything the Republicans wanted, and that's what he got. He didn't give a shit if it was legal or not. He said, as long as you keep me in office, I will sign any fucking thing you want me to sign, and that's exactly what he did. What
The
he didn't.
Republicans didn't want him in office. He was an
At
outsider.
first, you're correct. When they were first running for office, he came out and said, no, we don't want him in office, and the Democrats said we don't want him on our side either because he's crooked. The whole state of Hollywood and everybody else knows him because of these crooked. But we can't say that publicly because it's slander. So we can't say and tell the people, because the first person who does that is slander. We can't tell them that because we've got all the evidence. Okay, but we can't say anything. So there has to be some way to do it where people can find out about it, and that's where the shenanigans and the business practices and all that other, it takes time for everybody to start to see that and realize he's lying about this, lying about that, and it takes time. You don't know somebody's a freaking criminal until after it's already in motion and you've already made deals with this person and this person and the Republican Party. It's not just the Republican Party. I'm just saying the Republican Party is because those are the people, and I'm going to quote this, and I'll state this in a court of law, Mitch McConnell is his direct person who advised him on how to undermine the U.S. Constitution in an abuse of power position, so that because they knew that you can't force the jury, which is what the Republican side of the vote of an impeachment is, you can't remove them and put another jury member in place because there's nobody to go there. These are the senators. So in order for him to be impeached, they knew that they had to have so many votes to do so, and they did
Mitch
not
McConnell is one of his main enemies.
No.
One of the main people against him.
This is a public perception. They want the world to see that, because if they didn't know what was really going on, then they would have indicted Mitch McConnell, because Mitch McConnell is the one who's embedding all the justice. He embedded 230 some justices across this nation to try to have it in place so that by the time it got to the election time, the election was going to get up to the DOJ. The DOJ is all these justices of the United States. That's the Department of Justice. Okay? Those are the people. It's not just X amount in Washington. It's every single justice in America that has so many people, and it goes up to like 50 per state or something like that.
So Mitch McConnell appointed how many
Oh,
judges?
200 and something. You can Google this. Okay? But people don't know this. They're not paying
Googling
attention
it
to
every day, yeah.
They're not, no. If somebody's getting nominated as a justice down here, nobody's going to know that. You're not going to know that. I'm not going to know that. They're not even going to put it in
You
the
know about
newspaper.
SCOTUS, but you're not going to know about the
Exactly.
local,
You're not going to know what all the little trinkets are in every country and every mayor and everything. You're not going to know. Okay? You couldn't pay attention to it if you was a journalist, because there's too much. Okay? So the purpose of this is what I'm saying is, when this was all happening, and those people who have the ability to see the big picture, they immediately identify things and they see the trend that's happening, and then you see the end game because you have the ability to see the trend because there's nothing stopping it. And you see this and it's like, oh, there's a red flag, and you start to bring it to somebody's attention, because if you come out to it and say something, then they're going to either shut down your site or shut down your Facebook or shut down your Twitter, because they don't want
But
you
it's
to put it
mostly
out.
the Republicans that are getting shut down. The liberals did.
Yeah, because those are the ones who's lying to cover it up.
I wasn't lying. I got shut down
Why did you get shut down?
because I was reporting what was going on at the border. They said that it was going against community standards, and I got shut down. I wasn't lying.
Okay, well, I don't know. It could have been what you said. It could have been what you've shown. I don't know. It could be doxing for all I know. I just don't know. I had to look to see what you was actually doing. But I'm talking about the people who are already in office. The people who
Even
have
Trump
that.
got shut down.
Yeah, but he's lying.
just don't
He's
wanna-
showing disinformation. When you show disinformation, you're doing something against the people, and you're lying to the people, and that is a criminal offense. You're misleading the people, and when it's like me telling you there's a tornado coming, and you sitting there saying, "Yeah, really? Okay, there's a tornado coming, okay, or there's a fire in a theater." You know, if I mislead you, I can be prosecuted because I'm endangering your life. Because all of a sudden, if everybody takes off and they're climbing all over you, now, okay, so the principle behind that theory is everything across the board. And there's always been a rule of law. The entire reason why the broadcasting stations has to have a license is because they used to be able to sit there and say anything they wanted to back in war days, because it was propaganda time. But once the war was over, people were still talking about it and this, that, and the other. So FCC and everybody else said no more. Now you have to have a license. And because of that, that means if you are a broadcasting license, you are not allowed to lie. Even a newspaper cannot lie, because you can be sued for misleading people, because those who take that seriously, because it's news, I want to know what's going on, I'm depending on it. Is there a car accident? Is there a tornado? Is there a fire? I need to know because I'm making life and death decisions on whether to turn right or turn left.
Right.
Okay,
get it, yeah.
so because of that, they made all news broadcasting news outlets get a license. This is the reason why you see in a lot of movies, here's your story. Okay, this, that, and the other. Well, make sure you get them to sign off. You make sure you get your sources and this, that, and the other. We want to have this, so when we print it, we can say we've got our source, we got the proof. That's what we're going with. Today, it's a whole different ball game. You've got these people who have gotten a license, but at the same time, they bought this entertainment system. Okay, Fox Entertainment. So what happened is they've got a entertainment license for this one. And because you happen to work at both, you have the ability to entertain while you talk news, so you don't have to sit there and tell the truth, nothing but the truth to help you God. You can omit what you have, but you're making it look as if these people are telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Mixed
and the
with
people,
humor a lot of times.
and sometimes it's humor, that's fine. But when you misrepresent it and you don't give them all of the information they need to make a proper, informed decision of all the information, you're omitting the information because you're using this entertainment, like the Inquirer,
Right.
okay, to manipulate the minds of those who are watching.
Okay.
And now a word from our sponsor. Please vote Paloma for Congress and cut the bullshit and let's get down to work.
Okay. So what are we doing now?
You get it out.